Hey, welcome to Bowls and Beers. It's been a while, and we were at a place where we were questioning where the season was going, how low could we go, and now we're, I think, on the opposite end of the spectrum, saying how high can we go. Let's hope this mood keeps longer than the last one. Joining me is Zach and Matt, primary editors on Bull Run. Guys, it's been a fun 2 weeks. I know I was at the CMU game, and I missed the EMU game. I caught the very beginning of it, but then I had to attend a wake. So, what were your impressions? What have the last 2 weeks kind of taught you, Zach, about this team versus what you thought after the Miami and the Ohio game?
I think I was relatively optimistic after the Ohio game compared to a lot of people. So I don't know. I've been high on this defense all year, and I think that's really shown through the last few games. And I don't know. The offense has started to look better. I don't know if it's just a result of the season wearing on or if it's really the Kyle Van Treese difference. I do think that he's seemed a little bit more comfortable just moving the chains and giving our offense a chance. Plus, while our kicking game has abandoned us, I kind of have not hated Lance Leipold just saying screw it and going for it most of the time. I think a lot of the time that's the right thing to do at the college level where kickers are not consistent. So, and I think that's paid dividends. I should pull it up, but we were pretty I should try and find fourth down conversion, but we were pretty good last week. And I don't know. I just think that with our consistent running game in 4 downs, essentially we can move the chains most times. So that's my biggest takeaway. I think the kicking game, in a weird way, has almost helped our offense.
Well, you give them another down, it can't hurt.
Yeah, when we're ripping off runs of like 4 or 5 yards a carry, four cracks at it isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Well, and Matt, you watched the entirety of the EMU game. What I saw at Central Michigan was a very thinned out passing set of pass plays. Like fewer long throws, fewer weird crap. It seemed like the passing game was there only to keep the defense honest. And I think maybe that's a consequence of the coaching staff coaching. I don't want to say coaching down of Van Treese because I think that gives the wrong impression. But coaching to his skill set and arm and for how he can best lead the offense. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't say that I've noticed that. I don't disagree. I don't think this has been a year where I've seen a ton of wild, adventurous pass plays so much as I've just disagreed with kind of the general. At times, the general like in the Miami game, we rushed for 7 yards a carry, and I would have liked to see us rush more. But I can't disagree. I think watching the EMU game, I felt like that was an offense that has found its template. And not that they didn't know that before. Like, this is not that different from when we had success in 2013. It's not that different when Lance Leipold had success in the last few years at Whitewater. It's what he told us he liked to do.
On the rock.
But, and like Zach, I wasn't terribly down after the Ohio game. As you'll remember, I was kind of the pessimist of the group for the whole season. And so through the Ohio game, I was kind of like, yeah, this is where I expected to be at this point in time. And yet I didn't see anything of the CMU game. I was at a wedding. But the EMU game seemed to go much like the CMU game did. The defense played great. And the offense really, they know what they're going to do, and they say, come stop us, It's kind of like an old baseball pitcher that's, Mariano Rivera, not even that old, had the cutter. The cutter's coming, try and hit it. That's what the offense feels like to me now. And it's, as I've been saying all year, or as I was saying in September, I loved the 2013 team because it was just Brandon Oliver for 4 yards at a time. Sometimes it was 17 yards, and you choked the life out of him by halfway through the third quarter.
This year's team doesn't seem to rip off as many of the long runs as I remember from Oliver, and this could just be long-term memory and confirmation bias. I know we have a few, but it seemed like Bo was usually good for a couple of 20 to 30-yard runs a game, or if not him, one of the other backs.
I don't remember that as well. I remember Starks as more of a big run buster, but I've definitely got ideas of Patterson getting onto the sideline for a while, but I don't think of it
We
as
have
a
a
big
score
play
update.
rushing offense.
Miami is now up 21-14 on a drive that took them, it looks like, all of about a minute. So rooting for Miami because I think we can win the MAC East still, but more because I don't want Ohio to win it.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. It doesn't feel like a big play rushing offense, but a lot of the big plays are 8 yards, and I'll take 8 yards.
It's a beautiful thing,
As
right?
if
When you're
we're
watching
good.
that offense, and I know it is. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was at the CMU game, they were sitting there ripping off 4, 5, 6 yards a carry. It's just demoralizing. And we've been on the other side of that at times, where the other team comes out and just nibbles you alive. Like 4 yards, 4.5, 5 yards here, get you to third down, and then all of a sudden they convert it over. I didn't see Eastern. I saw in the Eastern game we went for it on fourth at the goal line, like Zach was talking about. We didn't get it, but the defense came through.
Yep.
This is the second week we've played a game against a team without their starting quarterback. Mike Glass went out on the second series, and I think Central Michigan was down to their third string quarterback between an injury and some pharmaceutical problems that the team had been having.
CMU's quarterback, he started the year, and then I don't know what happened to him, but then they had another quarterback take over for him, and he's the one that had drug
was it?
issues.
I thought the starter had gotten hurt for CMU. Okay.
For CMU, they were kind of like a 1A and 1B. EMU did get stuck with their backup, but I don't feel that bad because we lost our quarterback too.
Well, no, I'm not saying this doesn't count. But the defense has just been beyond suffocating these past couple of weeks. I mean, you look at what these other teams. What did the EMU have? 22 yards rushing or some obscenely small number like that? Central
30.
Michigan was it 30?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I mean, and Central Michigan also just had nothing. Eastern had the one pass play with the blown coverage and bad tackles.
Yep.
That was kind of their entire offense up until the last drive of the game.
And the last drive of the game was against our second. I saw a few of our starters out there, but it was mostly our second unit defense.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, now with Kent, Bowling Green, and Toledo left, I'm hoping our defense. They're easily one of the best defenses in the MAC. Don't get me wrong with what I'm saying this, but I just hope that we weren't playing a Eastern Michigan team that was basically Mike Glass. He was their offense, both rushing and throwing, and them losing him after the second series kind of threw them for a loop. Central's had all kinds of trouble.
I'm going to jump in after having to step away for a minute, but I got to say, Toledo was the only team in the MAC that went 3-1 and out of conference. If we're talking bowl attractiveness, all I care about is, getting one more win. Well,
I think we need to. I don't. 2017 is fresh in my mind. There's going to be a lot of 6-6 MAC teams.
There's going to be a lot of 6-6 MAC teams. The SEC is not going to fill their requirements. There's going to be slots. 3 weeks ago I was saying 7-5, and now I'm kind of looking at the SEC and I'm thinking, no one in the MAC looked good and out of conference, and so all I care about is wins. Without looking too much at what the quarterbacks were, or. And I
no, I get what you're saying, but I mean, I'm looking ahead thinking, is this defense going to come and do? You gotta hope Kent and Bowling Green. I mean, Bowling Green, I'm just counting as a win. That's lazy, but I'm counting it's a home game. It's a day after Thanksgiving. No one wants to be there on the field.
I was just saying it has to be a win. If we lose then
even if we win the other two,
it's just. If we lose that, it's just I don't know. I've always been pretty pro Lance Leipold. Just I feel like he's raised the floor on the program. But if you just blow that game against the second worst team in the conference and what could be critical for a bowl, at home, it's just, I don't know. It would just make me question. It's like, how do you not get your guys up for that game when like literally your last potential game of the season and bowl eligibility is riding on it against a bad team?
Yeah, this is Conrad used to have a good take on this, which was you have a bunch of players who really want to be home for Thanksgiving, and they are college kids, and so funny things happen some years. Those get, but I just think talent wise alone, as long as we're healthy, we should be able to dominate Bowling Green. Kent, I don't know. Kent has been up and down this season. They've definitely shown flashes of being able to be explosive offensively in the passing game, which is, I think, if you are going to push at UB, that's where you're going to be able to do it. You know, not saying it's easy, but it's easier to throw on us than it is to run on us. That's for sure. You know, Baker just goes out there and annihilates anyone that gets past the first level. It was fun. I sat with Davey and a bunch of other guys when I was there against Central, and they were right. Like watching him in person is a whole different deal than watching him on ESPN. You could hear him hit people across the stadium.
You're talking about Joey Banks?
Yeah, Banks. Did I say Baker?
Yeah,
I'm old. It's been a long couple of weeks.
Banks makes me think. One, Banks make me. I want to call him Cake Eater from Mighty Ducks. Two, ever since the Penn State game, I keep an eye out. You know, and of course he's won MAC Player of the Week 3 times now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was in the first 2 drives of that Penn State game that he had some tackle for a loss that you heard through the television.
Yeah.
He's definitely been.
I feel that.
Tim gets the back going. Yeah, he's been a lot of fun to watch this season, and for me, admittedly, wasn't terribly up to speed. Came out of nowhere for me. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Well, the guy's just, you know, I'm trying. There was a player a few years ago that reminded he just defensive safety a few years ago that reminded me of him, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, Ryan Williamson.
Might have been Williamson. I think he wishes he weighed another 30 pounds and could play linebacker. I think he just really wants to be up there pounding people every play.
Williamson, I almost never. I think he was a good player, play in and play out, but I almost never noticed him unless he was like really popping someone. And there's 2 or 3 of them a game. You know, I never really noticed him just covering a deep pass well or something. I was like, oh, he crushed that dude.
So yeah, I mean, we got Bowling Green. Kent, I can't figure out. I thought I had him figured out when Toledo was smacking them around, saying, "Yeah, we're going to beat this team," and then they came back twice on Toledo and made it a game. And I know Toledo's been down-ish this year, but like Matt said, they're the only 3-1 team out of conference. They are, I think, like 4-2 or something in conference now. I forget what the win last night, what that brought them to. But I mean, they're still legit. I still think they're legit the best team in the MAC. I do. I know Ball State has got off to a good year, and the West looks a lot like the East this year. There's a lot of mediocre parity teams in it. I mean, fun fact: Ohio beat NIU. We beat CMU. Who beat Toledo? Bowling Green beat Toledo, I think. So like,
yeah,
it's tough to figure the MAC this year, but I still think Toledo is the real challenge. I'm glad we have them at home on a Thursday. It was a Tuesday or Thursday night. But this next game against Kent is huge because we win this, we're bowl eligible, and the pressure's kind of off. We just got to split the next 2. Hopefully win them. You can't say enough about the running backs. I mean, Marks isn't getting as much work, but I guess with Patterson doing what he's doing, he can't. Do you think that it's fallen more towards Patterson as the guy and Marks is not? You know, for most of. I've been away 2 weeks. I got to get back into this. Matt, you got something to say?
I mean, I think Marks still crosses 1,000 yards this year. He's at 730 right now.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I do think that Patterson is rounding a little bit more into the main guy for him, but we saw Marks for a good bit against Eastern. Let me look for a minute. Marks had 21 carries against Eastern. And like, granted, we rushed, what is that going to be? 59 times in that game. But, you know, I don't think Marks it's 190 carries for Patterson to 170 for Marks.
So
I'm
it's
actually
like 2 less carries a game.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised to see that Patterson only has 9 receptions. It feels like he's a much bigger aspect of the passing game. But I think Patterson just has the slightest of edges, but I think they still both get to 1,000. Marks would need to average 90 yards a game. Yeah, that's maybe a little high, but he might do it.
I think it'd be amazing. Too bad. I don't think we've in the past 10 years had that. I think we came close one year with Starks and Thermalus.
I was just going to say Starks and Thermalus in 2007 might have done it.
Came close. I don't think they both got 1,000 though.
I'm going to see how far I can dig quickly.
So we're here. We're going to last 3 weeks, and basically the only really weak part of this program we're seeing is the kicking game. Sound about right?
Yeah, the passing game is still, I don't know if it's weak. It's just kind of one-dimensional at this point. Like I think we're good at completing a lot of short passes or throwing to Antonio Nunn, but I think we're still a little bit lacking there. But with everything else the team has, I think it's enough for us to be a. I mean, I think we're debatably the best team in the MAC right now.
We're still not built to come back from behind. Like we just don't have it.
That's what Matt was saying about we rushed for 7 yards a carry against Miami, which we did, but the issue was just that we were behind for like most of the second half in that game, and we just couldn't keep running the ball. Looks like Ohio just scored another touchdown. It's being reviewed. That's your live score update.
Well, in my research, I can't get further back. I can't get further back than 2009 quickly. Let's see if I can get here now. But I've been reminded of Jeff Von Gill, which is a name.
Yeah, I think I can. What year do you think
we're seeing if Starks and Thermals? I'm almost positive they didn't.
Well, I just got to 2009. That was the year that we had Induka, Gill, Mario Henry still. I'm going to look at 2007 and 2008 now, and I bet they didn't. Oh, Thermalus got hurt that year. In 2008, Thermalus got hurt and only had 85 yards rushing. And in 2007,
I didn't think he only had that much.
Thermalus is younger than I thought. Thermalus did not overlap with Starks as much as it seemed.
Yeah, their best season, I just looked it up, was 2008. Starks had 1,333. Thermalus had 454.
Yeah. So Marks and Patterson last year are already the top.
Easily the top combo running backs we've had. I mean, you got to go back to the 60s.
I thought Thermalus overlapped with Starks a little bit more than, but no biggie.
All right, so because we have to do this again next week, we have to. Before we play Kent State, we can kind of shift gears here and talk hoops. I watched some of the women's hoops game yesterday. I was exhausted. I got home. I passed out. Actually fell asleep watching it. Sorry. But what I saw looked pretty good, but I only saw the first quarter. So Paige had put up a fan post saying that it was was not a very attractive win.
Yeah.
You catch any of it, Matt?
I haven't. I wanted to watch the replay during my work day today, and I didn't. But word on the street.
Your employer's happy to hear that.
Well, they don't watch these videos. Word on the street from my mother, who sits immediately behind Paige, was that they have some things to work out. Is what she said. But I was pleased to see a name that I didn't know yet lead in scoring. And now
Taisha Fair, I think that's how you say her name. Yeah, I didn't catch the game either. Unfortunately, I do plan on watching a recap or replay at some point. But I have seen some hype around her as one of the better recruits in recent times. I think she also led us in scoring in our exhibition. So that's promising, and I'm speculating on without seeing the game. But Central Connecticut comes from a smaller conference, and we won by 5, so that's not terribly exciting. Yeah. But when you consider that we were without our best player in Summer Hemphill, I I think she's the big difference maker too, just because of her size and athleticism. It's just like that's the type of player that like a lower conference team would not be able to match up with. So like I don't know.
So I haven't been following. Why was Hemphill out?
Academics.
Leg injury. Oh, I saw a leg injury.
Isn't she out for the first semester for academics, or was that last year?
That was last year.
Oh, okay.
I saw Paul Peck tweet that she's week to week with a leg injury.
Okay. Well,
that's good.
I'm
happy to hear. I should say, I'm relieved that it's that and not academics again.
I am. It doesn't really change my next point, which is that among the freshmen who, oh gosh, I have 2 points to make. One, our freshman class has, shocker, an international flavor, which can work great. We've seen it work great. I have a slight bit of worry that with the men, they got Yassine Behe in 2004, and then kind of Reggie went to the well like 3 or 4 times and never hit again. And we've already seen one tall player from the Netherlands kind of come for freshman year and leave. And I have been a little, there's not too much video to find. You do what you can. But they got a 6'4" center who is playing now that Hemphill is out. And I believe she's among that group. And
I think she's if I'm thinking of the same person, I think she's a sophomore for us.
Okay. Well, regardless, we have an underclass center who, if she's getting minutes right now while Hemphill is out, I'm happy with that. Because that name is spelled different than I was seeing it somewhere else. Yeah, I'm thinking of Ilea Gaba from Germany. Not.
Looks like she got a little bit of playing time.
Yeah, Hemphill is so much a difference maker in the MAC that to the extent that her being out gets other forwards a chance to play at this time of the season means that they could be real impact players off the bench in MAC play and in tournament play. And the thing that I've always enjoyed about Felicia Getjack's teams is sometimes they're a contender for the MAC from the beginning of MAC play and you feel like they're a great team year round. And sometimes they're not, but they still find their way to 18, 20 wins, and you feel like if they play their best basketball in March in Cleveland, they can win the MAC. And this was kind of an ugly win, but knowing the talent that we have, I kind of feel the same way about that team this year. It's like knowing the program that she's built up, if they put their best ball together in March, they can win the MAC. And it just kind of feels like that's...
Yeah, she's proven it before.
If I get that from every coach in the school, I'm pretty thrilled with that. And like this was an ugly one, but I don't mind.
Ugly wins are wins.
I don't mind the first couple of weeks of the season. It's not like the men's team last year where we were like every loss could really affect an at-large status. Like I don't think we're in that category right now.
Although I think we've seen that at-large status is much more attainable for MAC women's programs.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
I mean, for a men's program to do it, like we would have got an at-large last year if we didn't win in Cleveland. But if we had suffered just one more loss, right, and then lost in Cleveland, we wouldn't have got it. Yeah. I think for the women's program, that's not as true. I mean, you can lose 2 or 3 games as long as they're the right 2 or 3 games out of conference. So loss like that could have hurt. But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm very content to know that our floor right now is we can beat up on lower teams after we just lost a ton of players and are missing our best player in women's hoops.
Yeah. And we had a ton of foul trouble too, which I think may not be unique to this game. Hemphill certainly isn't someone who does a great job of staying out of foul trouble when she's playing. Onwuka doesn't do a great job of staying out of it. So I'm not inclined to say, let's write it off in this game, but it is one reason that game was closer than it needed to be. And early in the season, that gets people more playing time. Whether people are getting playing time against Central Connecticut because of foul trouble or because we're up by 25, that's very meaningful to me. So.
On the men's side, you saw Nate Oates lost last night.
Bonaventure lost.
That's a bad call, by the way. That was I don't know if you caught the call that lost them that game, that goaltending call. That was brutal.
Alabama.
Against Alabama. Where there was a shot went up, the ball went off the rim, and when a Bama player went to put it back, and they called it goaltending, and it was just
I just flipped it on for like the last minute, and I didn't catch that part, but
no, maybe that happened just before. Maybe it happened just before the last minute or something.
yeah,
it was late.
I saw the missed free throws right at the end to cost them the game.
The missed free throws at the end, but closer to home, UB's kicking off their season on Friday, the 8th, against Dartmouth, who, for some reason, I thought was better than they are. I did not realize that. I went through. I was like, okay, I'll do a quick preview, and I read. I was like, wow, they're pretty bad. They're Canisius level bad.
They were supposed to be a little bit better when I originally was doing my scheduling post. They seemed a little bit. They would bring back everybody except for one player from like a below average Ivy League team. But when you bring everybody back like that, it can pretend good things for the future. But then they had their second best big man, I think, transfer somewhere, and they had another one of their top players injure his knee, and he's out for the season or something now. So they still bring back their one all league player, but otherwise they're I don't know. This is the kind of team that I think we're gonna be able to overwhelm with our athleticism and length. They're kind of dependent on their 3-point shooting, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't think that they're going to be great.
Now, do you guys see anything against Damon that concerns you?
Honestly, not really. I didn't want to overreact to an exhibition game against the D2 team, but Damon's top 25, and I thought we were honestly destroying them through the first 30 minutes, and then we pretty much took our foot off the gas for the last 10. We still won by 38, so I don't know. It's hard to take too much out of
that Damon team. Turned around 2 days later, took a trip to Syracuse,
and played them much closer,
and pushed the Orange pretty close. I mean, for a good portion of that game.
Yeah. So it's hard to take too much.
That hates a transitive property.
No, I hate pretending that exhibition games mean anything. And at the same time, I have to acknowledge that when Damon took us to overtime in an exhibition a few years ago, we had a rough year. I have to acknowledge that when Syracuse lost to Lemoyne a few years ago, they had a rough year.
No, that year they actually made it to the Final Four, I think.
Okay, well, whatever.
Or no, maybe not that. They were number one in the polls at some point.
But other than that, it was a terrible year.
Every year for Syracuse is a rough year because they're in Syracuse.
True.
There you go.
They scored like 30 points tonight against Virginia.
At any rate, there was this trend. It started maybe 4 or 5 years ago where the marketing department started treating exhibition games as like real games and start the season. And you see like NFL teams talk about like you saw a touchdown in your first preseason game, like your first NFL touchdown. Like these games don't count. They don't count. But winning by 38 at any level of competition, like I'm encouraged by that just because it means that we can put up points in a hurry, which is what's made this team fun to watch. I mean, other than winning, what's made this team fun to watch for the last 5 years.
If you enjoyed watching last year's games, I mean, look, we're probably not going to be a top 25 team this year, but the team will be just as fun to watch. Jim Whitesell wasn't kidding when he said he's keeping the style of play. The improvement from Segu and the company it's there. This is going to be a fun team.
Well, Segu's the guy who jumps off. I didn't even look at the assist numbers, but he jumped off just in seeing his shooting accuracy. Even just 4 for 7 from the floor feels like a huge upgrade from him.
Yeah.
And then I see 14 assists.
I mean, he had a lot of assists. I mean, was it over a dozen?
14.
I looked it up that night, and I think it was the 5th most in UB history.
But it's an exhibition, so it doesn't matter.
I agree to a degree that it's an exhibition, but like a top 25 D2 team is like legitimately like, they might be like, I would say like they probably wouldn't be the worst team in the MAC, to be completely honest, on a year-to-year basis.
I'm only looking at the score and the box score and remembering what people were talking about the night of the game. This is the most encouraging exhibition result I've seen in the last 8 years from the men. So to the degree that we want to take something from it, it's the most encouraging.
when I was a kid, way back when the Bills were good, you used to say like the worse the worse their preseason went, the better their season was going to go. The Bills were notorious for that. They'd always be 0-4 or whatever in the preseason. So we'll see if this holds.
Well, I've got a question actually before we move on from this. Again, only look in the box score. I'm surprised to see that Skogman's only 2 shots were from the perimeter. I thought he was going to be more of kind of a like Nowitzki type 4-5 tweener. Was I just way off?
I mean,
I guess Nowitzki shoots from the outside, but
he does. I can see your point. I think in the future he has that potential, but I don't. He's too slim right now. He's 6'9", but I don't know. I don't think he'll get redshirted just because of how thin we are inside. But I don't see him really posting up, and that's like what made him like a high rated prospect was his ability to shoot from outside at like 6'9". Okay. He's like a really like, because he was, I don't know how seriously he was recruited by Wisconsin, but he kind of fit in that Wisconsin mold of like the skilled tall white guy that, I mean, he was from Wisconsin too, but like, you know, that type of player when you think of Wisconsin.
The guys that Cornell lucked into in 2010, that Sweet 16 team from Cornell had those guys too. That makes sense. My big concern with centers, recruiting centers out of high school in general, I think is evidenced in Brock Bertram, who you look at him, his tape looked great. And when you kind of looked at it again, you realize he was just doing a lot of stuff from 2 feet out, and it wasn't a lot of variety in his tape. And I think he's come a long way. And I think he's got a role to play on this year's team.
He had a rough. I was not blown away by what he did in the exhibition game. I think you're right, man. I think he's long way. He's a lot more athletic. His game is a lot more diverse than it was when he got here.
I had a nickname for him on day one, you know, when we were recruiting him. Like we were like, he's announcing his, you know, his recruitment, he's announcing his verbal, you know, and it turns out that he was playing with 2 high major prospects who made him look good.
He played with 3 players that went to Duke and then to the NBA on his high school team. You know, actually one still at Duke, but he's in
and you know, it made him look good, and they gave him a lot of chances to look good. And I think he's a good player. I think he's got a role on this team.
He is. He's got to get the foul stuff under control.
But we weren't getting a polished center at the time. And so, and between him and again, going back to my point on Reggie going all back to the Germany well over and over again, like Christian Schmidt was not a polished center. Andrew Atman was from Pennsylvania, but like I'm always leery of the big guys. You know?
But we didn't need a polished center at that point in time.
No.
I mean, he was a great developmental project. He has great tools, and he's got a ton more athletic.
I'm not saying it was a mistake on the coaching staff part. I'm saying it was a mistake on my part in knowing what to expect. And so I just don't really have a good calibration for judging big guy recruits.
But the Stifle Tower, Mbala, he looks as good as advertised. That's going to be fun.
You know, shut up, Matt. We're talking about the fun guy now.
Well, I think this ties in. I think we're gonna again. I think Brock will have his role. He definitely. You know, you go back, you watch tape from 2 years ago, and he was really clunky. Just didn't. Yeah. And he was, and you know, Oates and Hurley always ran athletic, fast, really smooth teams, and Brock didn't fit. And he looks a lot more that role now. I just worry about him in him in foul trouble because it only took him a couple minutes to get 2 fouls.
Yeah, this was
in the last game.
I'm gonna, not that I think you were unfair to Brock. I think in general the UV community is unfair to Brock, so I'm gonna go on my soapbox for a minute here. If you thought that, like, I don't know, I feel like Ronaldo Seguin and Nathan Williams didn't get a ton of playing time on last year's team in one season, and Brock Bertram has played half the minutes they have played in his UB career, and everybody has condemned Brock Bertram to a life of being bad in his last 2 seasons at UB, which I think is like very unfair because I don't know, like I don't expect him to ever develop into an all MAC player, but I think we won 2 MAC championships with he kind of smart at center, and he was equally clunky, injury prone, and he pretty much just went out there, gave us his 5 fouls, grabbed a couple rebounds, and made a couple layups, and that's really all we need Brock Bertram to do. So I don't know. I just think like people are like, this is going to be our downfall. It's just like relax. Like we don't need him to be an all-star.
I don't think.
I hope I haven't come off that way.
No. I'm not saying this to you. I was saying that I agreed with mostly everything you said. I think I just need to address this to the UB community because it like enrages me. Like going into like, it's like we just won a game by 40 points, and I see on UB Twitter and some of the fan posts and whatever else, everybody's just like, man, everything was good except for Brock Bertram. I'm just like, leave this guy alone. Oh my god. Like,
we got to get you with the.
He plays hard. He plays hard, and he's a big body. That's like really all you need. He's going to give us 5 fouls, and he's not going to kill us.
This definitely falls in the periodic reminder that I like to get out into the universe, which is like once a kid commits to play for one of our sports teams and says, "I'll come to Buffalo for 4 years," like, you know, I'm. It's tough for me to say anything bad about him. Like. That's where I'm at too. Like I'm not projecting great things for Brock Bertram. I'm just saying we haven't seen anything yet, really. So the only players that I've really trashed are like when Raheem Johnson was hitting everyone in the balls.
Yeah, that was a rough stretch.
That could have been better.
Honestly, Nick Perkins too was a big time guy that if he didn't play for UB, I would not have liked him. Like some of his temper flare ups, but since he was a UB guy, I loved him. But
it's kind of like when Bobby Hurley was on our sideline as a coach. Like I hate Bobby Hurley for anybody else, but what he did to like Mac pundits everywhere, I love.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it made a difference for us. You know, it got us more calls, and I didn't love it, but it got us more calls, and that's his job, is to win games. I was like, all right.
But you know, Zach, you make a great point. Brock's not gotten a ton of time, and even without that, you know, Matt and I are both saying he looks greatly improved over when he got here in terms of how he fits the system.
Yeah, and I think we still played at a fast pace when Harley got here, but I feel like when Oates came in, we cranked it up a little bit, and I think he was recruited by like Wisconsin, or no, he was recruited by like Minnesota and like some of the Big Ten teams that play a little bit slower and would have fit.
He was recruited by Tubby Smith, and so he had time from Tubby Smith at Minnesota, and then Smith went to Texas A&M, and so that or Texas Tech. No, not Tech, because they had Beard, but
yeah. Either way, like I think he got put in the tough situation of committing to a place that then flipped their play style a little bit, and like. Then his role was rather than like the post up big guy that just has to like pass and make layups. Now all of a sudden we're just like, how are you not like Montel McRae? Like,
damn it, you're supposed to be Perkins number 2.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see. Like, I think he's going to get time playing here, but I also wouldn't be shocked because he'll have done his 4 years and we'll have the potential to grad transfer. Even if he gets his time here, I wouldn't be shocked to see him go somewhere that will be able to use his skills a little bit better than our team does.
We'll see how he shapes up. I mean, there's a good chance he's going to get some real time this year. I really think if he gets the foul stuff under control, and I'm sorry, Zach, I'm not saying this to hone on him, but you know, one of the ways you prevent yourself from getting a lot of playing time is by getting quick fouls.
No, I agree. And that's why I was saying kind of with you kind of smart. To a degree, you're just like the big guy that gets 5 fouls in a game. You know, just like don't let the opponent dunk on you, basically. Like you can, I don't care if he uses his fouls. I mean, hopefully we can get a little bit more usage out of him than we did against like Damon. But like to me, as a big man, using fouls isn't necessarily a bad thing. If like the other option is you backing off and just letting a guy get an easy layup or something, you know, like I think part of a big man is like you get your 5 fouls, like don't blow through them too quickly, but like play hard down there, you know.
So that's hoops. They have that. And they have the exhibition.
That's your Brock Bertram corner. Just what everybody came here for.
Well, we know who loves the Big Apple here.
I don't want to do it, but if I have to be, I'll be the Brock Bertram super fan.
No, Matt. You know, Matt hit it on the head. You know, you put on the blue and white. You come out. You work hard. We're gonna have your back at Bull Run. If you're a coach, maybe not so much, but
true.
But White Cells look good. It looks like he's keeping things where it is. It's going to be a fun season, and I don't know, Matt. It's an exhibition, but from what I saw, this is a team that can definitely compete for the MAC, and we all kind of believe that. Yeah. And I really believe it now.
Great. I again haven't. That's another one that I need to go back and catch some from, but certainly my expectation. I think that Turner for Bowling Green is the real deal. I think Bowling Green as a team is overrated. That said, he can he can win any game in this conference on his own.
Yeah.
But I think Bowling Green as a team is overrated, and I think it's us and them. That's what I think.
Toledo, I don't know. Toledo. No, they had that. What's the call got hurt, didn't he?
They had one of their forwards got injured. They lost to like one of the worst teams in the Missouri Valley last night.
The entire West Division can prove it. I'm giving Bowling Green.
It's the flip of football. You'll never believe that anyone in the West is worth crap until they prove it.
Yeah,
I think Western Michigan's the last team that won a MAC title, and that was with
Whittington.
2012 or 2013.
That was the year before Justin Moss, which was my freshman year, so it was 2013, and then we've won every one since, except for that one that Kent State got.
Was that Chuck Napoleon Dynamite's team or no?
No, that was Whittington. Remember the bulky guy?
That's right.
Rex Specs went to Xavier and played great for them. Stainbrook.
Yeah.
But like I'm giving Bowling Green at season beginning. Yeah, like I'm concerned about you guys. I'm not concerned about anyone in the West. They'll win some. Somebody's gonna float to the top. Maybe it's Ball State's here. It's always Ball State's here.
It's always Ball State's.
But my expectation pre-exhibition was that we'd be a top 4 seed and that it would be us and Bowling Green for the East.
Ball State basketball is the Ohio football of the MAC. This is their year, really. This time we mean it. As Ohio is now down 24-21 with 2 minutes left and 4th and 23. So go Miami. And then Miami, you can lose a lot after this. Ohio too.
Yeah.
On the basketball point, I just wanted to say, I think we're far and away the most talented team in the MAC. I truly don't believe that. I think if we don't win it, it's because of something in the transition of all the new players and Whitesell becoming coach, rather than our team is depth wise. I would have to go back and look, but I truly don't know if there's a team with the recruiting pedigree that our team has. I think we have 3 players that weren't 3-star recruits at some point before coming to UB, and then one of them is Gabe Grant, who's our best player in the exhibition and was a JUCO All-American.
The only teams in my fandom that can match up to it in the MAC is the Akron team that had the senior leadership of all of LeBron's high school teammates and a young Zeke Marshall. That's the only team that I can think of that matches that recruiting pedigree.
Well, we've had the best recruiting class in the MAC year after year after year, and Whitesell's greatest accomplishment was not losing a single dang one of them at the coaching change.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, even the class he put together in oh crap, I got the job, I have no recruits. He still put together one of the top classes last year, just off of transfers and a couple of late commits. So yeah, but Zach, you're absolutely right. Talent-wise, I don't think anyone in the MAC is anywhere near as deep as we are. But yeah, how is the coaching going to shake out? And then you get into Cleveland, and anything can happen. So, and I think Matt's right. Bowling Green has the talent for one player to take a game at the right moment away from anybody.
Yeah, one thing that I've kind of maintained, even there was a lot of. I don't know about a lot of the years. It's only been 4 years, but a handful of years that we've won the title, or a couple of the years, we weren't the number 1 seed. I think our team is a lot better built for Cleveland than any other MAC team, because a lot of those Akron teams, they were super dependent on 3-point shooting, and all it takes is one bad game in 3 straight days, tired legs or whatever, to cost you. But when we have a team entirely predicated off basically athleticism and height, that doesn't go away over the course of 3 days. Rather than Akron had that big center that was 300 pounds. It's you can't rely on that dude to play 3 games in 3 days and win you the championship. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They were, oh my God, the Akron guys were so excited about what Big Dog Johnson's going to do to everyone in tournaments. He's going to play.
Oh, I hated that.
He's going to play 3 games in 4 days, and his quads are going to give out, is what he's going to do in the tournament.
That's why,
I agree with that. This does feel like a team, even more so than, the Shannon Evans team was athletic to the max. Last year's team was athletic max. But the other 2 teams we've had, the Blake Hamilton team and 2 years ago, this year's team feels more top to bottom athletic and stamina built than
I was
2 of our 4 championship teams.
I think if you take last year's team out of it, this is probably one of the best teams we've had. It's not, and that's how spoiled last year made us.
Yeah, I mean that our first championship team with Evans and Bearden, we felt like we had something special, but non-conference was not a great showing there, and we were battling with Central and Toledo all season. We were almost the 6th seed in the MAC, coming down to the last 2 minutes of regular season that year. That was not we're heads and shoulders above folks like we were last year. I'm agreeing with you. I don't know why I'm talking so long just to agree with you, but
yeah.
Okay, man. It's been a while. We all got things to say. Now hoops is coming up. This will be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the year. I don't know that we'll be. I mean, we're probably not going to put up the gaudy win totals. I think we're going to have I don't know. Just watching the Damon game, I arguably feel like this might be a more fun team to watch in a way, just because I think we actually are more athletic. Like CJ, I loved him and he was great, but he was not a freak athlete or anything. And pretty much down the list
he
of
just
our
shoot threes like nothing.
Yeah, I agree. But just if you want to see top 10 plays, aside from Brock, I don't know that there's anybody on the roster that isn't a plus athlete for the MAC. I tweeted one of the highlights, but there was a play where we had a crazy alley-oop by a 6'1", one of our 6'1" guards, one of the new guys. Then Mbala came down and swatted a shot off the backboard. Then we immediately had another alley-oop. I'm just even last year, I don't know if we had a stretch of just a brilliant athletic flash like that. So I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun to watch. I think, and Matt, I don't remember last year, even before Oates left, I said, "Oh, this is not going to be a 20-win team. We're just losing too much. We're losing."
I don't remember you saying that.
I said it. Well, good. Okay, then I didn't say
we weren't doing these, so I didn't remember that.
I think I said it by the water cooler. I think around the water cooler, I was saying, "Oh, this is maybe a 20-win team if Oates stays." But we're losing so much. And actually, Whitesell's done such a good job. I think this could be. We're not going to. Yeah, I don't. Not
did you say that about
but
this year? Or you said that this year. Oh, okay. I do remember that. I thought you were saying last year.
Late last year, I was saying, "No, this year's no, we'll be good. We might compete for the MAC, but we're losing everybody." And no, this could be a 22, 23 win team again. And I remember back when Reggie Witherspoon would get 20 wins, we're and now again, floor. That's the awesome part. This seems to be kind of the average of where these programs are going to be. It's just night and day that we have a 5-4 football program that really should have beat Ohio at home. Really didn't show up at all against Miami, and it's still looking like a bowl. So I just remember the days when it's oh crap, we're going to be out in the first round in Cleveland, and we're going to finish with 3 wins in football. Thank you, Jeff Quinn, and thank you, Reggie Witherspoon's success in the postseason. I love Witherspoon, but hey, it's true. It's what he's done at Canisius as well.
Yeah, Witherspoon's time had run. He and Lindy Ruff were very similar in Buffalo sports.
Okay, I'm sitting here. We're going to count down the minutes. There's 7 seconds left. Ohio has the ball at their 20. Or is it 25? What do they do with the touchback rules on punts? Miami's up by 3, and Ohio's we haven't won a MAC championship streak is about to go to 52 years old. It's not official yet, but this is pretty much a nail in the coffin.
If it's 4-1 and 3-2, Ohio would need Miami to lose out.
The tiebreaker loss against Miami. They need Miami to lose out, and they need to win out. Right? And I don't think Miami's good. Miami has Akron left.
Okay.
And like Zach said, I think it was on Twitter, someone said Akron they couldn't find the end zone with a map and GPS.
Yeah, it was Ramo, and I think it was kind of a joke, but I also don't think that they've scored a touchdown in a month and a half. I don't think that's that was actually serious. Let me go look now because it's something crazy.
Which kind of sucks for us because our winning the MAC East now relies on Bowling Green and or Akron beating Miami, along with I think they play Ball State, that could happen.
Akron has scored 9 points in the last 4 weeks on 3 field goals.
Their last touchdown was against UMass, which doesn't even really count.
Yeah.
Is that an exhibition game, huh?
That was the relegation game for the team that has to
That
go
was
down to FBS next year.
Next year, Akron's in the FCS. Get ready, Patriot League.
We'll take Robert
all right,
Morris.
So Miami won. We need Miami to lose to Ball State, and then one of Akron or Bowling Green.
I don't think it's the craziest.
No, it's not the craziest. I mean, Bowling Green could do it. I mean, Bowling Green can up and bite you. I mean, they have that. Akron, I don't think is going to win a game.
No,
God help me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Akron wins 2 more games this year, one against Ohio and one against Miami. That would be sweet.
I think Miami was definitely the worst of the 2 teams, in my opinion, between Miami and Ohio. And Ball State has looked pretty good this year, so if they can beat them, I get Bowling Green as a puncher's chance.
They beat Ohio the same way they beat us. Ohio turned the ball over like 3 times in the first half. It's just, and it's kind of like the 2008 Bulls. At some point, that's coaching. At some point, it's luck. We don't know where it is. But you don't generate the number of turnovers they have in key games without it being huge. Ohio has Western Michigan, Akron, and Bowling Green. So we need Ohio to lose one of those games, and we need Miami to lose 2, and then we win the East. And we have to win out.
I feel like they lose to Western. Western's pretty good this year.
I think Western will beat them. I think Miami just broke their spirits, and Western will break their bodies. But in any case, they're not going to win the East again, and I'm happy about that. So this has been I've got 3/4 of what I wanted out of this football season. We beat Temple. Ohio's not going to win the MAC. We lost to Ohio. That makes me kind of sad. And we're kind of primed for a bowl game. So there are 3/4 of what I want looks to be happening. All right, no predictions this week because there's no game this week. We'll do predictions next week. D. Schroeder won Brewpeg EMU version, so if he wants, he can come on next week and give us his prediction at the end. Any shout-outs you guys want to do?
Shout out to basketball season being back. I'm excited.
I should say it wouldn't be Bulls and Beers without a women's soccer shout-out. They advanced the MAC semifinals. They hosted their MAC quarterfinal game, which I believe is the first time they've done it in a few years, even though they've been consistently in the tournament. Prior to Sean Burke coming on board, we'd only once been in the tournament 2 years in a row. Maybe it was twice, and only once made the tournament 3 years in a row. And he's made it every year. And we beat Akron as the 4 seed, took him out as the 5 seed. We did lose senior center back Gurjina Jandu to a knee injury, I think I read, in that game. And so the semifinal match against 1 seed Bowling Green is probably not going to go our way, but soccer has been probably the program that's been most hurt by my personal bugaboo of an obvious loss of recruiting funds post Danny White compared to the Danny White era. And so to see them continue to establish their floor as a consistent MAC tournament team and to put together a year with some senior leadership where they were able to host a quarterfinal game was really nice to see. So we'll see what they do against Bowling Green this weekend. And if they pull that upset, the other semifinal is like 6 and 7. Like I think other than Bowling Green, the other semifinal is 6 and 7. So Bowling Green's, if we beat them, the other 2 teams were below us in the regular season. So fingers crossed.
I'm always ready for. Oh, no, not really. I'm out of things.
All right, so get your brew pack picks in, get your basket brew pack picks in. And with my personal life kind of settling in a new place, I'll be, posts will be coming up more often. Look forward to seeing you guys in the comments, and have a great day. Now I'm pushing the end broadcast to see if I can't find it, to see if I can end it on time. Let's see. Or will it take forever?